Woo! What's up, ladies and gents? Hope we're doing well. Good to be back. Good to be back here hanging with you. There have been so many things that I've been excited about. So this episode, I'm just gonna kind of get into a huge list of just, some tools, some music, some things that have been inspiring me lately and just share it with you. Hope it brings some value to you as well. The first one on this list, F1 the movie, F1 soundtrack. I had the immense honor and just pleasure of getting to mix one of the records that was on this soundtrack and on the movie. So got to work pretty closely, obviously, with the artist and the team, with For Burna Boy with this song "Don't Let Me Drown," but also Kevin Weaver over at Warner Atlantic, who was kind of executive producing this soundtrack, and the process of working and getting files back and forth while they're on the soundstage and they're flying files in and they're making edits to the cut and then sending it back to the team and everybody's checking it out. It's just really exciting and really cool to be a part of something like that. That's pretty darn different than everything else I get to do. Yeah, I went and saw the movie last night down here in Nashville. I went to my local theater establishment and got to get the nice reserved seat, nice reclined seat. I got to sit way back. Really good experience, really nice in the Dolby Cinema. I skipped the IMAX. I'm not into the 3D stuff as much, but I enjoyed seeing this movie and experiencing the Dolby kind of format and hearing everything laid out in Atmos was pretty cool and mostly awesome. I will say it was, there were so many inspiring moments hearing all these other teams and these amazing artists and teams and producers that put together these other songs. Like this is like truly a return to form for just the art form for the medium of soundtracks. Like this was growing up in the 90s. It was like everything had a soundtrack. We had frickin' The Bodyguard that had that Whitney Houston song. And we had frickin' Space Jam soundtrack, little Forrest Gump soundtrack action. I'm trying to think, I have the Titanic soundtrack too, of course. It was a classic. My kids have the Frozen soundtrack. They have the compact disc. That was my wife's back in the day, and they think that's so funny that you have to put in a CD to listen to music. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, really cool. I had a panic attack about halfway through the movie when my song came in, and this leads me to point number 2 of things that I'm really digging right now. This is a philosophical element that I'm digging. It's learning to worry about the things we can control and learning to let go of the things we can't control, right? So somewhere along the line in the movie, within the scene where Burna's song played, it's my mixed stems that they received, but they tweaked and mangled and changed the song, and they like rebalanced the song, and it definitely sounded like way different than I remembered, and I kind of like freaked out. I had a heart attack. Like I think many of you could probably relate to this, where your fear kicks in and you're like, oh my gosh, this is released and it doesn't sound right, or something happened, or somebody else touched and changed something that oh no, what if all my colleagues are going to hear this, all the people that know I worked at, like, what if they hear it and they think that I suck? What if, God, it's just all your fear kicks in. And yeah, I was there literally sweating. I was like, yep, I did the back test. I turn around and feel my back is sweating right now. So I panicked through the entire rest of the movie as much as I was trying to enjoy it, which it was an awesome movie. Really solid. But I got out to the car. I was like, okay, let's check the masters. Let's listen to the soundtrack again. And it was like, yep, there's the mix. The mix sounds right on the album. And the entire album is pretty solid too, as far as like mastering. There are a couple different mastering engineers actually. So like when you listen to like the Ed Sheeran tune, there's so much low end, it's big, it's fat. But other than that, it's pretty consistent from track to track. Everything's hit and everything's really transient. So the point being, I showed up. I did the absolute best I could. I had a great time. I got goosebumps working on that mix. I completely got into the flow, into the jam while working on that record, and sent it out into the universe. Did my absolute best to make it as saucy as I possibly could. The rest is up to the universe, man. And if the director and the entire team and all the producers and all of the masterful geniuses that are far smarter and way more talented, especially in their areas than I am, if they decided it was finished and it was perfect the way it is, then awesome. And I also got to remember that 90% of people are going to see this thing on their freaking Samsung 4K TVs, watching on Apple TV at home. And, after this little stint of it living in the theater, it's going to live on on much less extravagant sound sources, and it'll all sound cool. So yeah, man, we got to worry way less, because if we're worrying and if we're getting into our heads, we're getting anxious, we're not mentally freed up to fulfill our freaking destiny and just be able to focus and get into that groove, get into the mindset, and be able to approach the work the next day with the confidence and the sauce that we need to just come in and ball, baby. I love it. Number 3, this is something that has been amazing. One of the most heartbreaking elements of leaving Los Angeles was knowing that my relationship with my assistant, Jackson, was going to change at least slightly drastically. Being that I wasn't local. Like, he would come over, we'd be working on things in the room. So we were looking for solutions. So a couple of assistants ago, during the Mix Giant era, we would work out of Dropbox, and it worked pretty well. We would like just have the sessions living up there. You know, I'd dump files in there. He would prep them. He would kind of get things ready for me to jump in and mix. And then I would just open the sessions right out of Dropbox. And then I would do save as's. We could go back and forth if I needed to hit him and say, hey, I need you to edit some stuff. It was cool. Worked out really well. The problem is Dropbox has gotten so unbelievably expensive, and the way that I'm archiving all of my stems and all of the work for the last 18 months and all of the current projects, it's just like far too much memory for Dropbox to be able to handle. I mean, they're really set up for more to support like infrastructures of like large corporations and not so much like small mixing studios. So then I found out about this thing called BOOMBOX, which is basically like Dropbox, but for music makers, and it's extremely affordable. And they have like way more features that work for the types of things that we do. And the pricing is just like unbelievably good, and it's really solid. So like, this is an example of the workflow. We've got, you know, I've got my Atmos, our 4 prep folder, our ready for mix folder. So Jackson and I are just living out of this folder. We're just freaking working on things and being able to collab, especially as him and I start co-mixing things more and more together and working remotely 2,000 miles away. We're able to just keep this train rolling, even though I jumped ship and I got the hell out of Dodge and I'm down in Nashville now. So yeah, that's the other thing I'm super excited about. I mean, Dropbox was trying to, I'm like, I have no shame in just throwing them under the bus for this pricing, because it's completely ridiculous. But they were trying to charge for like a company, for like a small company, like just like almost $1,000 a year. It was completely insane. And for like the plan that we're doing with BOOMBOX, it's like $15 a month. It's amazing. It's good. I would highly suggest some of you guys check that out if that's the right fit for you. Plus, you can when you send out files and send mixes, they can drop little notes in throughout the process. It rules. Next thing I'm really digging is mixing on AirPods, because I was out of a studio for like an entire month between the time when I packed up the LA studio, lived in an Airbnb for a little while, moved down to Nashville, was mixing here for a few days till our moving truck showed up. Took a few days to unload everything, took a few days to actually set up the studio, a few more days until like the treatment was good and the room was tuned enough to actually trust the speakers. So like, we're talking about like a month of going through starting mixes, having to finish mixes, delivering mixes, and needing to trust what the heck I was hearing. So I'm working on this. This is a work in progress, and I'm going to keep you guys really updated on what this is. But I have developed a couple of like really amazing curves and techniques that I'm doing and using with the AirPods to make them really great. Because the thing is, like, yeah, they're a great reference because everybody uses them. It's like, if they sound great in AirPods, they're going to sound great in AirPods. That's kind of like how I think about it. But if you make them sound great in AirPods, your mix doesn't always sound great outside in the real world. The problem with AirPods is they have this active EQ, and they're like really dampening certain parts of the upper mids and certain parts of the lower mids. The low end's a little inflated. It's like, in order to get things to be a little bit more representative of the response you're going to get from a different system, or the crossover distortion you're going to find in the car, or some of these, you got to do some things to the AirPods to sort of make you hear them a certain way. And these are some things that I put on. I have like a third-party app called SoundSource, and I put an EQ filter on. I've also been kind of mixing with one ear in, one ear out, and really learning how to place things front to back too. That's like the difficult thing about mixing with headphones for me, is learning, you know, because the mono information with speakers, it sums in a physical space. It's the physics of it sums right there. So it can be really a lot easier to place things front to back, like bass guitar, vocals, snare drums. In headphones, it's sort of this I wouldn't call it imaginary phantom center, but it's a very different concept of phantom center, and things can really get sucked back, and you almost, yeah. So there's so many things and to think about, and I've come up with so many methods. So I might even do like a little mini course on it, and because I mean, I've moved so many times now, and I have relocated studios so many times that things have changed so much. Rooms change, speakers change, gear changes. Like so many variables can change, but AirPods are the only consistent thing. And, you know, they lie, but at least they lie consistently. So you can learn how to use them. And that's really what I'm into. I feel like I'm cracking the code on it now because I was mixing on them for about a month and then getting in here and continuing to work on some of these ongoing projects, like a couple of albums that are happening right now. I'm learning like this work is starting to really hold up. Like the stuff that I'm mixing on AirPods is like competitive. And in a couple areas, it's not. And I'm really honing in on what those are. So I'm excited to share that with you guys too. Yeah, next thing I'm super stoked about, being back on the Attack Wall, baby. I mean, let's take a look. This thing is just sweet, man. We're here. Everybody has been asking in those comments, like, what's up? Are you going to share the tube trap plans? You know, they're not DIY tube traps. This is the Attack Wall from ASC. And these particular ones I got from my friend Greg Scott, aka UBK, House of Kush, my man. Yeah, I went and picked these up a couple months before I moved out of LA. I thought these would be good to have. I thought I would at least use them for like drum tracking or something. And it turns out just I really was missing out on so much coolness in the imaging and the space because like, you know, whole lot of beautiful Gerhard panels are contributing to the effectiveness of the low end of this room. But as far as getting that just sweet spot in the mids, like right here, you know, I got this to the left of me, got this to the right. It's just, it's amazing. It's completely amazing. And, you know, if I had the opportunity to build them again, I don't think I would. Some people have asked, like, where's the DIY tube trap build guide? Like, you had that up for a while. I can't find it. The fact is, I just don't endorse that anymore. I don't believe that those are completely effective, and I don't think that they last. Just they fell apart. Something special is going on with these ASC ones. They're really expensive, yes, but they're just manufactured extremely well. Like these ones are almost 20 years old, and they're like still going strong. Greg moved these to a whole bunch of different places that he lived in, and I moved them across the country now. They got shaking around in a moving truck, and dude, they're just solid as a rock. Look at these babies. Solid as a rock. Yeah, and I can still use one as my standing desk here. Look at this view, you guys. Look at this view of these just beautiful green trees. Yeah. All right, next up, let's look at Dynassist. A little late to the party on Dynassist, or at least late telling you guys about it, but check this out. This is amazing. We have a new thing. We have structured singing time for my kids, so I leave 2 microphones here, just always wired up, so they can come in, grab the mics, and we just hit play on Taylor Swift 1989 or on the Frozen soundtrack, and they love to sing along. And I've got them labeled here as Thing 1 and Thing 2. Check this out. This is what they sound like with no dynamic control. You know, intense peaks and valleys, right? So I can hit this one on Thing 1 and Thing 2, and we can go down to ARA, go to Dynassist. Ooh. And look, it takes a look at all the audio, it analyzes it. So traditionally, back in the day, I would just over-compress vocals to level them out so they're audible all the way through the song, and that's really helpful. Then I got hip to clip gain and kind of automating in to the compressor so that you're feeding the compressor a more even sound so that it can control and it can add the attitude and vibe without freaking out and getting pumpy and weird, because you can hear that and it sounds like a mistake. But I just love the way that FET compressors add vibe to vocals. It's something that I've grown up listening to, the last generation like grew up listening to. I think it's better than the sound of a natural voice in the room. It's enhanced by a machine, a freaking T1000 coming for you. Come in me if you want to live. So yeah, little FET amplifier action, just adding some growl and some just amazing attitude to a vocal. It's a great thing. But this tool can really help. It can just level out the vocal in like 2 seconds so that you're feeding that compressor just an even signal, and you can just blast the compressor without any of the negative attributes, right? You can turn down the breaths, it'll gate things, and it'll ride your vocals, right? So if I speed I like to go speed it way up. And sometimes I'll experiment with like smooth up as well. Let's see how that's going now, just on Thing 2's vocal.
No players, and you love the game. You're reckless. I take this way too far.
Yeah. And then we can throw like a VNE on there. That's one of my other favorite plugins right now. Like if you want transparent gain control, Dynassist into the VNE, like this is it, man.
No players, and you love the game. You're reckless.
Next thing I'm super stoked on is I finally got my second Chord amp back from my tech back in LA. So a lot of you know, I'll show you here, I've been using this, I've been using the Chord on the big Strauss monitors, and it's awesome. And they were so cool. They sent me this to use because they knew that the Chord that I had acquired was going into the shop for a while, and it was there for like 6 months, literally. Oh no, sorry, not 6, 9 months, even worse. 9 months later, a beautiful, brand new, well, newly renovated 25-year-old Chord SPM 1200E. This was like the hi-fi amp of the gods from the 2000s, and it is completely restored with some new modifications to bring it into the modern era. And this Chord on these NS10s, forget about it. Forget about it. You can't get me started on this thing. Next up, I got to try their DAC because I am once again a believer in the power of differences in amplification, and I think what these guys are doing is just a complete another level. Yeah. And a little Easter egg just to test if any of you are still watching. The Strauss monitors suffered a blow to the dust cap. It was a sad day. Nobody's fault but mine. I was trying to lift it up, and I felt my shoulder kind of give out because I've had kind of a shoulder injury. I got hurt moving, and I dropped the monitor, and my knee just pounded right into the speaker. It's very depressing. And that driver to replace is like $2,400 before taxing and before use tax. Before shipping and before use tax. Yeah. Oh my God. Crazy. Yeah, last 2 things. My favorite mix bus compressor these days is the, drum roll please. Do people do that? Is it a lip trill for drum rolls, or do you just go? The Waves SSL bus comp. Tried and true. I tried to get away from it. I keep thinking, oh no, it's like almost 20 years old. There's no way it's going to be as strong as a modern competitor. Completely false. The Waves SSL bus comp is just the tightest, snappiest, best. I'm doing a live album mix, and I'm on the mix bus smacking that thing like -8 to -10 dB of gain reduction, with the high pass filter up around like 80 or 90 on the detection. And it sounds like there's no compression. But it's just pulling things together, and it's making everybody hit so hard. It's making it so aggressive. Like, dude, Dan Corniff is one of those mixers where he runs 2 SSL bus compressors into one another, so together in series. And he gets it to where you have anywhere from like 20 to 24 dB of gain reduction with both of them put together, total. And you listen to it and you're like, that doesn't sound compressed at all. It sounds amazing. And I thought, well, he's a savvy guy. It might just be that he has modified those to sound a certain way. So we were at NAMM one year, and he walked up to the SSL booth, and there was a demo mix playing on the console. And I said, dude, dial in that bus comp the way you would do it. Because I tried tweaking it. I could only get away with like 2 or 3 dB of gain reduction without it sounding like wrong and smaller and pumpy and just squished and squashed. He gets in there, 2 hands. He's just like, not even really trying. He's just playing it cool. Twist and turn. There we go. -14, just bopping down in the pocket, and it just came alive. You push so far. The way he said it was like, push the compression so far to where you know like you've gone too far and you can feel it pushing down, and then go further than that, because then at that point you're released, like that's zero again. So really it's all relative about how much it's releasing back. So if you're really just squishing down, if you get all the character from down here, and if the envelope just starts pushing the transients in a cool way, it might only technically be doing like 2 to 4 dB of gain reduction based on how far it's sitting, even though it looks like it's clocked in at -14, right? You know, it might be technically compressing that much with gain reduction and the amount, but really the dynamic range of what it's doing isn't too far. And if it's adding that, trust it, go with it. Who cares? No rules, baby. Also, another thing on the mix bus lately, Arturia J37. Woo! Oh my God. I'm also really impressed. You can try this thing right on their website. This is like, I don't know how they're doing this, but they've coded the plugin directly onto the web page. So go there right now and like just check this thing out and just listen to it. And listen to what happens to the intonation of the track as you dig in with distortion, you dig into the tape. It detunes the, like it really warbles the way that tape does, and this hasn't been the case in any other plugin that's come out. This thing is amazing. And it has that sizzly, crackly thing that we've all been trying to get on our snare drums. Like, this freaking plugin's amazing. It's so special. I wish I had thought of it. It's great, man. It's really, really great. Okay, last thing, 10th thing that I've really been into is summering, man. Just taking a break from a lot of work. Hey, I don't know if you guys can hear my kids wrestling back there, but I've been having just a great time hanging with the kids. I love having this studio in the house because they can just come in. They can come in and say what's up. They can come in and be a part of the studio. But we're doing a lot of outside stuff too. We've been getting in the hot tub, doing a lot. Everybody's about cold plunge this, cold plunge that. No thanks. I want to get into a hot tub. So we've been pooling it, hot tubbing it, going out, doing things, exploring our new digs here. So you guys get outside, get away from these computers, get outside, do some things, put the frickin' phones down. It's a waste of damn time. Love y'all. Hope to see you soon, man. We'll see you guys next week. I want to do a Q&A, so drop some questions. All right, man. Peace.